Hello, you're watching Hornbill TV's newsroom. Unemployment is a matter of great concern not only all over the world, but is also a grave concern in Nagaland. One sure short advice for any parents or elders to young ones looking for a future in Nagaland is most definitely government job. Christmas might not have come early, but the government of Nagaland did surely bring the gifts to all government job aspirants in Nagaland. Nagaland government has officially increased the upper age limit for entry into government service, superseding all previous notifications and office memoranda regarding prescribed age limits. This office memorandum was issued by Nagaland Chief Secretary Dr. J. Alam. For Group A, B and C positions, the minimum age is 21 years and maximum age of 32 years. For Group D positions, the minimum age has been set at 18 years and maximum age of 32 years. The memorandum also outlines specific age relaxations in which scheduled tribes will now receive a 5-year relaxation, raising the upper age limit to 37 years. For current government employees, the relaxation will equal the number of years served, up to a maximum of 5 years. The order also stated that these changes would come into effect from October 9th. And on this topic, today we will be discussing as to how this notification, or rather the order from the Chief Secretary, will affect changes in the way aspirants look for government job and especially government service. So to discuss on this topic, we've got our associate editor Alanguli, and we'll be speaking more on this and how this could change the effect of how youngsters, or rather job seekers, would look at government jobs. Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for joining me on this newsroom.
Good morning.
Well, sir, this order that came out would have really affected a lot of government job aspirants. Some would have even given up actually trying to apply or even try to sit for the exams. Do you think this is a positive step when it comes to employment opportunities for aspirants in Nagaland, sir?
Yes, definitely it's a development that all of us can welcome, Akivi.
Yes.
And especially for those people who have really been fighting for a place among those who have been aspiring to build a career in the government. This particular group of people will now be, I think, the first in more than about 50 years who will be enjoying the revamped age group limit.
Yes.
So I think it's a welcome change for them, but I think our celebration will have to be an opportunity for us to introspect actually.
Yes.
While changing the age limit,
Yes,
will encourage people who have neared or have or about to pass that age limit, I think it gives them a fair chance, but it does not change anything about how this is going to affect employment.
yes,
Because what we are seeing here is a change in only one of the many technical aspects of securing a job,
yes,
and that is the age limit.
Yes.
It's only a tiny part of the whole process. It does not talk about unemployment. It does not talk about the opportunities that might be built from this to create more employment, because here we are talking about only a small group of people who will be availing this facility. And there are thousands out there who will be fighting for 20-30 government positions.
yes,
And this will continue. So in the long run, like I said, this is only a small pump. It's something like Band-Aid. It does not address the broken system.
yes,
It does not bring in any solution to the heart of the problem that the Naga youths have been facing, that is lack of industries,
yes,
lack of employment opportunities.
yes,
It does not talk about skills. It does not talk about an industry upgrade for the state as a whole. So yes, congratulations to this particular group of people who have been fighting for a chance to be in the government, or to at least give it a shot. And congratulations to the people in the future who will be availing this opportunity to build a career in the government. But like I said, this should not blind us to the fact that this is just Band 8. What are you going to do with 30 posts in the government every year that is issued through the NPSC? And because 45,000 people out there are over aged by 2-3 years, it's not going to help them. So like I said, this is just something that the government had to do to shut up the people who might use this opportunity to cast aspersions at the government itself.
All right, so now that you spoke about how this is just a band-aid, so HornbillTV has been covering a lot of events where we've got ministers, people in the government service itself coming and speaking to the youths, or rather the educated unemployed youths of Nagaland, and stating, and in fact they have come on stage and they have openly stated that a government job cannot accommodate all the unemployed educated youths.
Yes.
So in a way, do you believe that this particular order that came into effect from October 9th would just increase the competition level? Because before the increase in the age gap too, there was such a heavy competition. I mean, for just about 60 posts, you've got more than about 50,000 aspirants coming to sit for the exam. And now with this increase in age, do you think that the competition here is going to even get more mightier, and do you think this is going to become a big challenge for the new, or rather the young ones who are aspiring to become a government servant or aspiring to get a job in the government sector? Do you think that this challenge is going to get even more difficult for them?
Yeah, definitely, Kivi. That was the reason why I was saying it's just a small technical element to a larger picture, to the disease, if you might call it that.
Yes.
So it does not address anything about unemployment. Rather, it will actually create a lot of problems. Just like you said, now we have increased the age limit.
Yes.
People who were out previously because they could not qualify due to their age, now they're going to come in.
Yes.
So remember, I think it was in Haryana recently we did a story, 20 constable post.
Yes.
12,000 people turned up. And in Delhi, I think the AICMT examinations, I think it was about 35 to 25 posts. Almost 1 lakh people came up. So age relaxation, good. It will serve a particular demographic of our community,
Yes.
but it is only going to increase, in that sense, help unemployment. Because how many people will come in to fill 20-30 posts in the government every year, and because they are not going to be young forever, they are not going to be 37 forever, eventually the filtration rate will be extremely high.
Yes.
So I think it will be very interesting if research communities in Nagaland will conduct some kind of a survey, or even the government establishment would study this issue. Then I think the data that will come out will be extremely important for us to be able to plan ahead in the future. But one thing is sure, that now there will be bigger competition, a higher number of people aspiring to join the government service, because the age relaxation is now on the higher side. So in a way, I think it will also create even more spaces for the unemployed educated group to have more unemployed youths. It is going to create a little bit of I don't know, it's going to be a byproduct of this new order that the government has issued.
All right, now coming to another aspect of government jobs, and also with the way the administration and the judiciary is coming into picture, a few days back, rather in the month of September and also in the oncoming week of October, there was a huge judgment from the Kohima bench of the Guwahati High Court, in which 935 posts and additionally 40 posts of ASI, SIs were removed, or rather it was not counted. The High Court had intervened in this matter, especially with regard to the fact that these employment, or rather these opportunities for this 935 people and also the 40 sub-inspector posts were done without any advertisement, and it did not follow the legal process, in which the High Court had directed that these people who were selected could work for another 6 months, after which the government had to intervene, had to refurbish the advertisement, and then set up a new exam opportunity for the aspirants. Do you believe that with such checks and balances from the judiciary, especially into checking employment opportunities in Nagaland with regard to the government sector, do you believe this is going to increase efficiency? And also, do you think through such intervention, do you believe that we will have more quality government officers?
I don't really believe so, Akivi, because judicial activism is not something very common in Nagaland.
Yes.
When I was in college, we used to read a topic in political science about judicial activism in India. So judicial activism in India is a phenomenon where members of the legal fraternity engage in actions that they feel are right for the people who cannot, or who cannot themselves approach the judiciary for redress. So these are like private movements within the community judicial activism. The lawyers are always watching out for news reports. They are always watching out for wrongdoings in the government establishment, in the public spaces. They themselves file cases where victims could not. It's like a suo motu movement.
Yes.
So, and even the high courts, the Supreme Courts used to engage in this at a very intensified level. And so much so that even till the 80s and the 90s, there used to be a syllabus on this. But in Nagaland, I think it's rare and few that our legal members have engaged in such a kind of activism. But yeah, definitely if we had a community in the legal establishment who will be looking out for the welfare of the people, speaking on their behalf, because the people cannot do it on their own, or representing their grievances, or representing their problems before the establishment. If there were a lot of people like that in our legal community, I think, like you said, the apparatus of check and balances will be strengthened, and it will be the oversight for all wrongdoings in the state. It could be in the government, it could be in the private and public spaces. So yeah, only if there is some kind of a movement like that from the legal fraternity, then I think we can say that there will be check and balances. Otherwise, by what we have seen in Nagaland, and you know the whole Nagaland thing,
Yes.
Kushi Kushi everyone. So if this continues, then I don't think, no, nothing will help. Just recently, the High Court intervened to stop the appointment of certain personnel in the police establishment.
Yes.
If the court had not intervened, nobody would have known,
Yes.
and nobody would have cared. But then even if after the state, the judiciary had intervened, our government did not even announce an inquiry into this. Who is responsible? They did not even take accountability. They sent a very plastic press release, and the best they could do was blame the middle management of the police establishment. But of course, everyone knows that all these decisions are taken by the government.
Yes.
They did not even announce a committee to inquire into this, to inquire into the anomalies. And you think this government will protect us? So unless there is some kind of a strong moral establishment within the judiciary who can come in without having to wait for complaints, who can come in without having to ask for fees, because most people who have grievances, they cannot afford lawyers, for instance. So if there is some kind of a judicial activist movement within the Nagaland legal fraternity, I think some of the problems caused by not having opposition in the Legislative Assembly, and some of the problems being faced by the public because of all these non-state actors, and because of the problems caused by the lack of industries, let's say unemployment, which is also contributing to corruption. So all this, or at least some of these problems would be addressed because there is something or someone watching out for the people.
In this, sir, now coming back to the topic of employment, you just mentioned the term "khushi khushi," but sir, are you seeing any change in the way how these posts are being scrutinized? Do you think that it's only going to get harder in the days to come to actually forge or even fudge trying to get into government employment opportunities? And do you believe that now the government too will have to take a more stringent manner in which they conduct the exams, they offer the post, they advertise which positions are open for an opportunity for aspirants? Do you believe that with the days to come and with the effect of social media and the fact that now everything is so open, and with one green button and also rather a send message on WhatsApp, do you feel that the scrutiny into such services will become even higher? And do you think that this scrutiny is good for the public?
Well, ideally, that is what every one of us seek. There is nothing like a government establishment where people leading it and people in leadership positions are people of integrity.
Yes.
It's not a system, it's not a framework, it's the people sitting there and directing the direction of the state that is responsible for positive outcomes.
Yes.
And negative outcomes is nothing to do with the system, it is with the leaderships. So if we have a leader sitting there leading the state who has no integrity, who is dishonest, then you can expect that the whole system will be dishonest. And I've seen it myself. I have been offered a job for 2 lakh rupees in the government. That was just right after I graduated way back in the early 2000s. I was offered a job in a certain department, and they said I can buy that post for about 2,70,000. That was the going amount. And just 2-3 years ago, I was talking with a friend, and this person told me that nowadays the going amount is, if you have the money, somewhere in the 5 to 6 lakhs. It's shocking. And I don't know whether that is true or not, but as for me, I know by experience that I've been offered a job for money. So this is the kind of system that we have in Christian Nagaland.
Yes.
And the people sitting there who have been leading the state over the past 50 years have not really been kind to us, because the whole idea for them is not necessarily to see that the welfare of the people are justified, are met and fulfilled as they wish it to be, so that they can build a future. Their cause is not that. Their cause is for power, to secure money and power, to secure a place for themselves where they have to perch higher than people suffering down there. So that's the problem we have in Nagaland. So there are a lot of complex moral, economic, and institutional elements, problems here that are at play, Akivi. And this is not something that just having people working at some kind of a regulatory system sitting up there will not help. Because like I said, it is all on the driver. If you have got a good driver, then you can be very sure that the vehicle will be maintained, even though it might be old. And even if the vehicle might be old, he is still going to take care of it and make sure that it serves him. When the elections was going on, and over the past 1 year that we had the state elections, we talk about corruption. We will fight against corruption, we'll protect you, we'll give you law and order, There was illegal appointment in the police establishment, and nobody said anything. It's frustrating, and it is on our shame.
All right. In another psychological aspect of this order, and also about the state of what Nagaland is, so we do know a lot of people who are aspirants and have tried, but their only option is for government service, after which in Nagaland there is no better opportunity or no better employment opportunity.
Right.
After which, after 1 try, 2 tries, 3 tries, they are still in that zone where they want to sit for competitive exams, after which they become educated. They are already educated, but they become unemployed educated youths, and through which there is a lot of psychological imbalance in them, and also the matter of depression, and also after which they start a lot of antisocial habits, which then later would have created a criminal in the society. Do you believe that this order could change some sort of it, or do you believe that Nagaland should also have other employment opportunities rather than government jobs, sir?
There are a lot of people who actually want to be in the government.
Yes.
They want to serve the state in that way.
Yes.
I mean, there are people who want to paint, who want to write. There are people who want to be journalists, people who want to be pilots and rocket engineers. So we have people who have interest in civil administration and civil services. For them, I think there is no greater opportunity than what is placed before them, yes. But technically speaking, again, Nagaland is perceived to have a very high level of unemployment.
Yes.
So which means even if you're not someone interested in government services, because there are no opportunities for you outside for you to be able to express your talents and your interests, it's very natural that you'll have to start looking for government job. And that is why the attrition rate of unemployment is again very high.
Yes.
So in this case, not everyone can be a government servant, Akive.
Yes.
Not everyone can be an SDO and DC and minister and doctors and engineers. It's not for everyone. And it is good that everyone is trying. But I think what the unemployed youths should be doing is to create a forum where they can also act as pressure groups to pressurize the government to start taking a serious look at our economic policy. Because in order for us to build a career away from the government, which is our sole employer in Nagaland, our major employer in Nagaland, in order for us to walk away from that, we will have to be sure that there are opportunities outside. So what are the opportunities? Agriculture, horticulture, industries, food processing. So we have to be able to be creating a platform where we will have to voice out to pressure the government to create a policy where we start focusing on developing our industry. So when we do that, then I think there will be higher chances that we will get a lot more employment opportunities for our youths here. Because like I said, because there are no other industries that can absorb the unemployed youths, the only option is where it is, the state government. Yes. And it is saturated. The ministers themselves say it, the officials say it, community and local youth organizations and students, they say it, it's saturated. We can't take it anymore. And Nagaland has one of the, I think, highest employee ratio in the government.
Yes.
So in order for us to walk away from that, I think we'll have to look towards skill development, industry development, and then I think it might not be the sole solution to unemployment, but it will certainly help to a great extent.
Also, sir, in the end, I would just like to ask one more thing, which is there are a lot of ministers in their respective ministries or portfolios that have come forward and stated that there is excess employees in this department, due to which salaries are not given on time and they are not receiving benefits on time. And also now with this office memoranda from the Chief Secretary of Nagaland, which came into effect from October 9, increasing the relaxation age to 37, do you believe that such an order is also an order that is creating more trouble for the government of Nagaland?
Yeah, they'll be now under more pressure to ensure that there are more opportunities there which they cannot create. There is no way they are going to create any employment opportunities in the state government. Of course, by an executive order, you can just say all appointments in the departments are now open. You can start recruiting, but where are you going to get the salaries and money from?
Yes.
My brother-in-law retired recently, and throughout his career, he had to wait for his salary. Sometimes he used to come after 3 months, sometimes after 4 months, sometimes half of the year.
Yes.
So the government cannot pay, and even the government has, to their credit, admitted that they are not able to pay their salaries,
Yes.
which of course means that we won't have any money left for our development also in that sense. So it will create more problems for the state, yes, because there will be now a higher number of people who will be aspiring to find a place in the government.
Yes.
But there are no opportunities there anymore.
Yes.
And the attrition rate, as I said earlier, will be high. There is no going back for them unless, of course, they start thinking about an economic policy for the state, skill development policy for the youth, that we can absorb them in that sector.
All right, so thank you so much for joining me on this newsroom and speaking about the topic on the relaxation increase for the aspiring unemployed educated youths in Nagaland. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Akil.
Well, that was our associate editor, Alngoli, and we just spoke about the recent order that came from the Office of the Chief Secretary of Nagaland, Dr. J. Alam, and in which the order stated that the relaxation age for aspiring government service, aspiring government service aspirants, that the age would increase by 5 more years, with which now from 32, it has now increased to 37. This would come as jubilation for a lot of people, but this would also, according to our associate editor, Alngoli, this would also become another big problem for the government of Nagaland. But only time will tell if this order would actually see the light of day and whether this order would also try and resolve a little bit of the unemployment opportunities in Nagaland and also the unemployment attrition rate, which is very high in Nagaland, and whether this would cater to those aspirants that are actually wanting to join the government service. Well, Hornbill TV will bring you more newsrooms like this, so keep watching Hornbill TV.